Hey, what's up, guys? It's Chris Peralta from PS Rewind, and this is my Game of the Year discussion video. So, without further ado, let's jump in. That being said, if there was any games that came out in 2020 that you enjoyed, I'd like to know them in the comment section below. And if my pick for Game of the Year wasn't something on your list, I'd like to know what game you thought was worth the Game of the Year in 2020. And maybe we can discuss it in the comment section below, because that's what I love about gaming. We all have different tastes and different opinions. Before I actually jump into my game of the year, I actually thought I wanted to do a couple of honorable mentions because there was a lot of great titles that came out in 2020 that I think definitely all deserve their own spot, especially with such a high coveted spot as game of the year. There were some great titles that came out this year. And starting off, believe it or not, my first honorable mention is not a PlayStation game. Now, even though this channel will primarily be a PlayStation-centric channel, as gamers, we try to play everything, whether that's your favorite place to play is PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or even mobile. It's all about just uplifting the community no matter what. We try to play everything and anything. As long as it's a good video game, we're all there for it. So for my first honorable mention, it has to go to Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch. Wow, what a great game. Came out March 20th, 2020. I think the Animal Crossing for the Switch came out at a perfect time. I think this is March when most of the country was going in lockdown. For some, this was, a lot of their jobs were lost. Businesses were closing down. I had like the opposite effect where I was working more because I work in the healthcare. So, I was working a lot more. And so I wasn't able to just get to the home and just play on where I like to play, on the couch or just sitting on the bed. I wasn't able to do that as much because I'd be home and get tired. But the portability of the Switch and adding it to Animal Crossing really was a big factor that added a lot of fun and helped me get through some of that times. Now, I think this is one of those games where it is like super in depth, but some of the things that you can understand is that this is a great time sink type game. You can dump hours and hours and you kind of just make your own little town, your own stuff, kind of get your own room, things that you like to build. Like you can go with all kinds of different like type, I don't know, decor, things like that nature. You can do all kinds of themes and stuff like that, which I think is really fun and cool. Now, the music, very soothing, very relaxing, just chill, go do all kinds of things like hunt bugs, catch them, pick flowers, work on your town, things where you can just relax and just, vibe on your own, which I think is a cool thing. That was like one of the nice treats about this game is that being on the aspect of mobile, you could come home, drop it on the dock, and then be able to play on the big screen, which is really fun. Customization has also been upgraded where you can do a lot more with your town, with your own character, customizing items. For a while, there was so many cool like t-shirt designs and people were doing. I thought that was very neat. The only real complaint I guess I would say if I had one for the game is that I wish there was more online type features, something where we could play mini games with friends up to multiple people, really keep the game lasting a little bit longer for me. As much as I am into customizing stuff, sometimes I feel like I just want to have some fun, and I wish they had some type of party system like that. Maybe like Mario Party type mini games or something like that. That would be a neat feature. But other than that, I mean, this game came out at a perfect time, like a really good time. A bad time, but a good time in that sense. All right, for my second honorable mention, it has to go to, and I can't believe this game actually even came out. As much as I'm pretty sure a lot of fans, we've been waiting, anticipating for this game to come out. Who would have thought it finally would have dropped? And that's Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that released on April 10th, 2020. Square Enix did a fantastic job with this game. I was one of those in the camp of I didn't know if this was going to live up to this such iconic game, growing up with it. But at the same time, I think not only did they meet it and match it, I think they've exceeded it because this game is fantastic. The characters models looked gorgeous, like they just look fantastic. The music is incredible. To hear it with such a bombastic soundtrack and orchestra is so good, like so good. Some of the music is just so chill, like very nice. You can just sit back, relax, do some stuff like writing or something like that, maybe even homework, um, or work on some projects with this soundtrack. It's really good, and they has like some epic tunes, especially when you're fighting some boss battles. It's crazy the music, how hype it gets. I just really like the music. They did a lot of upgrading with the battle system, which I think is also awesome. But if you also are old school player and you want to play that way, you also had that ability to do that. The cutscenes also looked so gorgeous. Couldn't believe to see some of these cutscenes in 4K. And also, and you wrap that all up with a sort of a different, without going into spoilers, Square Enix did something amazing to interest old school players, and also for new fans alike. There's something new for everyone to enjoy, which I think is very, very cool. One of the reasons I couldn't give this a top spot or even go further, it had to just be an honorable mention, unfortunately, was that I loved this game. It was great. But at the same time, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, you've only known that this area, basically this beginning area, just scraped the beginning of this game. There is so much more to this game that they have to do. And that's where I had to like pump the brakes. And I was just like, man, when will we see the next, episode or chapter or things of that nature? Because sort of this game is episodic. So that's why it kind of sucks, because I can't recommend it on that basis, because who knows when the next part's coming out. Kind of glad that I waited on this video a little bit, but at the same time, because a new State of Play came out, there's already a new chapter, but it's just one chapter. And see, that's kind of the reason I couldn't recommend it a little bit further. But other than that, this game is a fresh new experience for old fans and new fans. So it's definitely had to get up there. And who would have thought it actually came out, right? All right, for the last two games, one is the honorable mention and one is my game of the year. Now, it was such a difficult choice this year. I really, there was a lot of great games. Some of the other games that I'll mention really fast that came out were awesome, did great, was, Among Us, Hades on PC. Those games did exceptionally well. It's been a fantastic year for games. But these last two is the ones that really got to me, because I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them a lot, but for two and distinctive different reasons. And while I'll jump into it, now I'm sure once I announce my game, my another honorable mention, that you can probably guess what my game of the year is. But, we'll jump into that right now. My last honorable mention before my game of the year has to go to Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch Productions, and that released July 17th, 2020. Now, this was a hard choice between my game of the year and Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, fantastic, had a blast. I was pleasantly surprised when I first seen this trailer. I got to see it at a PlayStation Experience event downtown LA. Got to see the trailer on the big screen. Really drew me in. Sucker Punch has always been one of my favorite developers. Sly Cooper, the Infamous series, and Robot Rocket on Wheels. It was definitely a breath of fresh air. I loved the combat system in this game. Being able to go slice and dice, pick and choose if you want to go stealthy on the missions, and it adds different rewarding aspects to that where you don't really normally see that in the games. The island was absolutely gorgeous. Like when I think of this game, I think of colors immediately. Like, there's so many parts in this game that you can distinguish on the island where the colors just pop. The trees, the colors, the flowers, things of that nature. Things that I'm like, whoa, when I first started playing it. And there's like so many things on the side when you're playing the game where it kind of takes you out of that regular mundane mission to mission thing where, there's the like doing haikus. That was so fun to just sit there, relax. I mean, your character's legit relaxing in a bath. Looking for the fox dens, and even there's like a bamboo type mini game where I honestly felt like I was playing like Parappa the Rapper or like Guitar Hero. It was very neat to have something that broke that normal cycle of mission to mission. Pretty fun. I mean, there were so many throwback Easter eggs if you've been a long time fan. The customization with the armors looked so cool. There were so many variants that I ended up having a hard choice depending on which ones I wanted. The screenshot, the photography mode. I mean, I lost hours just messing with it because the colors and just doing all these angles, just trying to make my samurai take some cool screenshots. It was very, very cool. I like that, and you wrap that up with a nice, great hero story, and you have yourself a masterpiece. And I really think Sucker Punch did a fantastic job, and I really cannot wait to see what they do next. As much as I would love for them to go back and maybe do another Infamous game, or even go back to Sly Cooper, I don't see that happening. I'm pretty sure Ghost of Tsushima sold very well, and I could see them definitely doing a sequel. And on top of that, just when you think it's over, bam, they release a free update adding online co-op. That's right, this game was single player, didn't even need it. They added a free update. You could play with co-op missions. You could do raids with a bunch of other players, and added more customization, more armors. It was so cool. Ended up being at the end, there was like one where you could get like a Kratos type armor, Shadow of the Colossus, like really cool, like ties in with it, like very cool, very cool. That I cannot wait to see what Sucker Punch does next. All right, and so for my game of the year, drum roll, is The Last of Us Part 2 from Naughty Dog. If you haven't played this game, unfortunately, I might do a little bit of spoilers. So, if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It is worth your time, 100%. You will not regret it. There's a lot to dive into this game. Without repeating over some of my stuff that I've said from Ghost of Tsushima with like the stealth combat and a very fantastic battle mechanic systems with the guns, upgrading and stuff of that nature. There was a lot of decisiveness with this game when it first came out. There was a huge spoiler leak, I think it was like a week before the game came out, maybe even 2. It was very hard to not catch those spoilers, and thankfully I didn't. Unfortunately, it sucks because this game got such a bad rap, because there's so many times where I see someone post this game or talk about it online, and they just show screenshots or things that are so out of context, where if you've played the game, you would understand those parts specifically, but they don't. A lot of people have just latched onto screenshots or a certain image, and that's it. And it sucks to say, it really does. What I liked about this game was your guns and the weight of it, like the arsenal. Like, you really feel the weight behind some of these things. The mechanics, everything that worked in this game was so beautiful. When it came from cutscenes to in-game, it was so fantastic. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is on PlayStation 4. This is on a PS4 right now. Like, some of the stuff that you can do is that, you could choose to go in and be stealthy and tactical, or you can just go in and just guns blazing, however your playstyle, or if you have the ammo for it. One of the big reasons why I had to put this on my game of the year was that while Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII all had great stories, The Last of Us Part 2 really touched on a lot of different emotional chords, where you feel like so many different things at any given time. Pain, misery, loss, this forgiveness. There was so many times where, without going too far into the spoilery or stuff like that, but the character Abby gets so much shit online. It sucks because her arc is so fantastic. I'm almost at the point where I would actually say I liked her story arc more than Ellie's, and that's crazy to say. I've never had that where in a game I went from hating a character so much to playing it out down the story and then realizing, wow, I kind of finned and I'm actually on this character's side so much that it really did change my opinion on it. That is crazy to say because most games don't delve into anything like that. That's what's crazy. I've loved the world that Naughty Dog has put together and has created with this. Besides just the Ellie and the Abby branch and Joel, there's so many characters that we've come to love. But I've also come to love just the world that they've built with the clickers and the fungi and just all that in nature it makes for a really cool zombie story. And I know we've had so many zombie stories and so many things of that nature that it's gotten repetitive and kind of boring, but the world that they've created and they've made with this stuff is really intriguing. Like, I'm invested more into this. So I would love for them, if they do continue, there are some story branches that they probably could do with the characters if they decide to return, or they could do their own side story but in this universe, because it is fantastic. It really is. It really is. When I first wanted to do this, I really wanted the last half of this video to almost be like a review and a discussion talk about the game. But with the incoming probably PlayStation 5 version and maybe an online additive, like say factions might be returning, that's when I think I'll return to this game and actually do a full-on review and discussion, because I think there's so much to talk about with this game. Like, you could literally do like 30 to an hour discussion. There's so much to talk about. It just sucks because, like I said, this game, when it came out, it just got so much crap it didn't need. Like, so much. And it sucks because I see it every now under post, because this game has won a lot of awards and I really think they deserve them. But it sucks because the community around this has been so decisive on this. It's crazy. It boggles my mind. It boggles my mind, because if the game didn't fly with you or you didn't like it, that's fine. You might like a game, I might like a game. You might hate a game, I might like it. I might hate it, you might like it. But that's the point, is that we're supposed to be able to come together and have those, discussions about that. And when, like I said, when it comes to just still images and taking things out of context, it really bothers me, because as a community, we're supposed to be better than this. Now, when I originally sat down to do my first video on the channel, it was going to be my Game of the Year discussion. But I kept getting sidetracked in things, so that's why I uploaded the Pokemon cards, because I wanted something just to get off my booty and say, let's do this, let's start this, because as much as I started diving into it, it's kind of actually tricky and kind of hard, and it's time consuming, especially when you work. It is kind of hard. But other than that, I really am glad to be here and to do this video. With that being said, I would love to know, again, some of your favorite games that you played in 2020. Even though this video has came out in March of 2021, I'm just glad that I finally got out there to give you guys some insight on my own opinions. I've been playing games most of my life, but now I've wanted to take that step to the next level. So here we are. I would love for this to be more of a discussion type. Love to see some of yours in the comment section below. Because there was also, like Doom Eternal was a game that got a lot of praise. Just haven't got around to it. That's the thing about games. There's a lot of them. They come out a lot, which is good. It's really good. Helps the community out. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the video. Maybe you learned something. Maybe even interest you in playing one of the games I've talked about here. At the end, I'm going to have a short clip of just maybe an Easter egg of my next video. It's going to be a fun little video, and after that, we're going to get on to this channel's first review on this channel, which I think is going to be pretty cool, pretty fun, and it will be a PlayStation 3 title. Just throw it out there. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and if you guys did subscribe. If you liked the video, thumbs up. If you hate it, hey, thumbs down. Whatever you can get. Now I wonder what the video could be.